county has utilities out there, and if we don't have the utilities, a lot of times fiscally it doesn't make good sense because that utilities drives a lot of the fiscal impact on development. And for example, going down State Road 54, a lot of that's already developed, so probably not so much going west. Yep. Oh, yeah. That's a task work order. Again, we signed up with recently with Kimley Horn. They're looking at helping us with identifying and providing alternatives to our transportation hotspots, and the idea of going to what Pasco County has, similar to a mobility fee, that would provide us a little more flexibility on our transportation impact fees and where and how those funds can be used. No, not necessarily. I guess it depends if we change our formulas, but it just opportunities to do more with the transportation, like for trails or sidewalks, we could use transportation fees. Was there one more question? Yes, sir. Well, I think again, getting creative with our housing opportunities and alternative choices. The city approved an accessory dwelling unit ordinance that we tried to be proactive, where a person could take their garage in the rear yard and convert it into accessory dwelling unit. And last conference I went to got a lot more information on how we want to try to look at expanding that program. But that's one instance where I think, yeah, with the changes since COVID with the office, try to talk to the development community and different opportunities to have the work from home, or is again, under that housing priority, we need to look at all those types of opportunities and creative things that folks are doing for exactly that reason. Okay, thank you.
All right.
All right, thanks, Todd. Our next speaker, I don't believe needs an introduction, but we have Senator Danny Burgess. Senator Burgess is a lifelong resident of Florida, born and raised in Zephyr Hills. Danny was elected at age 18 to Zephyr Hills City Council, making him the city's youngest councilman in history. He served on city council while attending USF, where he got a bachelor's in political science in 2008. He received his law degree from Berry Law School in 2011. He joined the U.S. Army Reserves in 2012. He was elected mayor of Zephyr Hills in 2013 and served until 2014, when he was elected to his first of 3 terms to the Florida House of Representatives. He served in the House until 2019, when Governor Ron DeSantis appointed him executive director of the Florida Department of Veterans Affairs. He served in that role until 2020, when he was elected to the Florida Senate, where he currently serves as chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Senator Burgess currently serves as chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee. He works at Shoemaker, Loop and Kendrick LLP. He continues to serve in the U.S. Army Reserve with the rank of major. He and his wife Courtney live in Zephyr Hills and have 3 children: Adeline, Danny III, and Eleanor, and their dogs Briar and Holly. Senator Burgess.
Well, and timely, as Pasco County, I think, eliminated this. What happened with the bunnies? Commissioner Oakley, it's the sale of bunnies. No more sales of bunnies. So we got a bunny the day before. It wasn't through a sale. It was like a private, like somebody was getting rid of a bunny. We took a bunny, and anyway, it was like perfect timing because I didn't know the next day was the commission vote on bunnies. But anyway, funny side note, we now have Hoppy the bunny, which I had nothing to do with. And so I don't have a script. I don't have a speech. I'm just here to say hi, and this could get dangerous, or this could be really, we'll see how this goes, right? But I'm just happy to be here. I was up pretty early over at Lake Jovita talking to our Feeding Pasco's elderly group, doing amazing work. And so now we're back home in Zephyr Hills, and it's good to see so many familiar, wonderful faces that help make this community what it is. I think that we really are ground zero for all that is happening, not just in Pasco County, but in the Tampa Bay area. And that's something to be very proud of. I was literally just talking the other day, actually it was yesterday at lunch in Tampa, to a group kind of acknowledging the rapid changes that have occurred in our area and our shared communities, but in a positive light with how Zephyr Hills, I believe, has done a really good job of embracing the change, and in doing so, being able to kind of control the change, for lack of a better choice of words. I think as opposed to kind of saying, hey, not in my backyard mentality, and having that growth and opportunity go around you, I feel like the team at the city has done an incredible job of welcoming it and understanding that with time comes change and new opportunities, and recognizing it for what it is, embracing it, and in doing so, being able to kind of help shape and form, control is not the right word, but shape and form how that growth affects our community and how we can kind of balance that growth against that need to maintain our community flavor and feel that we all know and love and why we live here. And I really believe that we're a great example of that, and we should be very proud of that, because as our town's grown to the north, I believe that our downtown has witnessed an epic righteous like revival, and it's still happening. It's in the middle of it, but I think that we're going to continue to see that transpire and grow and transform into something that I remember as a kid getting Slurpees at the 7-Eleven and going to the movie theater here. And so there's more to come, but it's really pretty cool to witness it happening. And hopefully we can kind of continue that momentum. What's happening at the SunTrust building. What's happening at the SunTrust building is pretty fantastic with the whiskey distillery that's going to go. That's not a secret, is it? I just might have, did I just blow the lid off of that? No. Okay. Is this recorded? Is Victor Young here? Oh no. Anyway, so there's some like ridiculously incredible things that are happening in this town that are, like, as somebody who grew up here, you scratch your head and you're like, man, it's happening here in Zephyr Hills. That's really cool. So it's hard to believe, but it's also not hard to believe, because that's the energy and the marketing that we've put forward into this community. And I do believe that success, half of the success is not just the risk and the capital, it's also messaging. And I'm a firm believer in if you message it, if you build this energy and this expectation, there will be this demand. And so let's keep that going. Let's push forward. Let's make it happen. The state is a willing partner in this endeavor. We've been blessed to have a legislator that looks out for our area every time he wakes up, and that's Wilton. And we're not losing him, but he's going on to even bigger and better things. But that's something that we've been very spoiled with. And obviously, Randy Maggerton and I will continue to fight for those appropriations and opportunities. But having Wilton has been a blessing, to say the least, and has made that a little easier on us all. So we're going to have a little more work to do, and we're willing to do it, but it's going to take a collective. And so let's continue to push for that state funding, because I think the state has recognized, we're very good with the dollars they give us. We spend it wisely. We don't overspend, and we deliver on time. And that's something that the state looks for. We also are willing to step up to the plate and match funding. That's another thing the state looks for. So we've demonstrated that the money goes a long way by investing here in Zephyr Hills. So let's continue that trajectory and that reputation. That's very, very, very important. I would encourage you all to come to Tallahassee. The chamber has done a great job of being very involved in coming to Tallahassee. The city council has always been very active in coming to Tallahassee along with city staff. It's important to do so, not just to kind of see what happens during session, but also to kind of lend your ear and your voice to the legislators as they're making decisions, not just me. I'm blessed to be able to see you all the time. And so I get excited when I see you up in Tallahassee, but you also need to communicate that with various legislators in the process on both chambers. And so it's important for you to be there. We do have a lot to offer, and I think a lot of people could learn from our successes. And so that's critical. We believe in this town so much. Hopefully you've all seen our office downtown for the last 2 years on Main Street. It was like a lifelong dream to have an office there, and it's kind of cool I didn't know what it would be, a law office, whatever. Like, I've just always wanted an office downtown. So it's really, really cool to have that happen. It really is a fulfillment of like a childhood dream, because I just grew up down the street. So Jonathan and Natalie from my team are here. You see them bouncing around town, usually walking dogs outside, because we're a very dog friendly office. So if you have a pet, bring them in. We like that. I don't know if our landlord does, but they don't know. They're in a Popka. They don't really ever stop by. So that's cool. But, whatever we can do, we're always here. Just let us know. partnerships are the way to success. I think the greatest partnership we've had was probably one of the first that we saw come together with State Road 56. It probably would not have happened but for the city's willingness to essentially guarantee a large percentage of the loan that the county was going to take out through the FDOT SBA loan. What was that called? It was, yep, there you go. So with the county partnership through Ronnie, Mike, and everybody, and with the city's willingness, the state recognized that we were stepping up to the plate, and then the private sector got involved, and they started donating rights of ways, things like that they could have made money on, but we recognized the need, and that's how things get done. It's that public-private partnership, and so that willingness to be a part of the solution is a part of our success. I'd be happy to take questions because I know I'm rambling at this point, but my goal was to be the mid-morning motivator. And so I hope I'm succeeding. I was a lot funnier at 7:30 this morning, but that's because Jonathan wrote me a speech. So now you just get me waking up and ranting. So how you doing? Is it fun? Are we good? Hey, Melanie? I wasn't going to go there because. No, I'm glad you went there. I just didn't want to be the one. No, don't retract it. You just opened Pandora's box, though. I wasn't going to go there because my 15 minutes would turn into 30, but I'm glad you brought it up. That means there's a willingness. So I mentioned the theater. I've had a strong passion to try to do something there for a while. It's a bit of a pet project, but I also think it's like one of the biggest final pieces of the puzzle downtown. And that's our home theater. Grew up going there. I see it as much like a miniature, lighter version of the Tampa Theater. And you don't have to ask me, you can ask the CEO of the Tampa Theater. He's come to visit a couple times at our invitation and toured it, and he sees that promise too. And so there's been some opportunities. Main Street Zephyr Hills stepped up to the plate big time. I was proud to work with them. We filed an appropriation in both the House and the Senate. Randy Maggard was gracious enough to do it in the House, and Wilton was gracious enough to get the funding in the budget. We were able to get $2 million in the budget for the Zephyr Hills Home Theater. It's a process. And so every time you think you've reached a success point, you realize there's more to be done. And unfortunately, there were vetoes that occurred significantly this year. And that was one of them. Zephyr Hills still, I don't want to be doom and gloom. Zephyr Hills blew it out of the water again. I mean, the governor signed the budget right here, right? Like a year ago. So you got to be nice to us. We're the city of pure water. But and we always deliver on the best events and smiling faces. So, you got to take good care of us. But that was one of the ones that did get axed. And if you know me, I'm not one to quit. In fact, that's kind of like when I double down and say, okay, we're going to get this done. So we're going to get this done. We're going to bring it back. It's going to be better than it used to be. It's going to be a multi-purpose venue. Just picture everything from ballet recitals to classic movies that are themed, right? Like Jaws on the 4th of July. That's kind of the one that I'm most excited about. Now we'll have Top Gun 2, maybe on Veterans Day. Can you imagine? But it's going to be what we deserve in our town. And there's a lot of avenues that we can approach this. There's a lot of ways you can skin a cat, and we're going to get creative, and we're going to be persistent, and we're not going to stop until they tell us to go away and give us the money. So with that, if you have ideas, I would be very excited to hear them because there are historical grants. There's various things that we can do to partner together and help make this dream a reality and help bring that resurgence and vibrance back to downtown. Thank you for bringing that up. That's literally number one on my list. So thank you for bringing it up. I just didn't want to throw it up all over the podium here and everybody leaves saying, wow, he's like a one-trick pony.
Telling the historical story by that property, and that theater to a similar thing downtown. It brings hope to our town, and I see all the possibilities.
Thank you.
Our downtown area, these are very much so. Thank you for spearheading and
thank you. I won't. How often do I talk about it, team? Every day? Where are we on the theater? Yeah, and it's not even, I don't even know if I'm gonna win an election. Like, where are we on the theater? Like, thinking about next year, we haven't even got through the election. Like, literally, kind of like my personal number one thing. So, not joking. Thank you for saying that. It's an old Quonset hut. It was a World War II hangar for the planes. There's so much history there. In fact, so much so I had no idea that they used to build these things pretty regularly into theaters. And this is one of the only ones that's still intact. It needs a lot of work, but it's still intact. But how long is it intact for? It's like the Jeffries house. The city saved it so that we could keep it from falling down and not having to knock it down like we had to do to the one that was too far gone in Zephyr Park. So if we wait too long, well, then it is going to go bye-bye. And so we have to do something while we can. And that's what we're going to do. We'll find a way. Thank you all. I appreciate it.
Don't you guys miss long hair, Billy?
My wife doesn't. Thank you, Danny. And thank you for your continued support of Zephyr Hills. I'll talk a little bit about that at the end. Our next speaker is Dr. Randy Stovall. Dr. Stovall spent over 40 years working in higher education, 30 of those years in management. Randy has a PhD in zoology and taught biology and environmental education classes for many years and continues to teach part-time at Pasco Hernando State